Is anybody here? Is anybody here? Hello. Hello, hello. I am live on Facebook and on Instagram. I don't think I've ever gone live on Instagram before. How exciting. So it's a little different. But why am I here? I'm here a smidgen late, you guys. I'm here because I am answering a reader question. Oh, hey, Mariah. Hey, Catherine. How are you guys today? I asked on Facebook, I always answer a reader question on Wednesday. So I started answering the questions in the post back. If you want to ask a question, jump over on Facebook and look at March the 1st, and you'll see where I posted something that said ask a reader question. I'm looking a little greasy today, people, because I'm going to get my hair done. So I don't wash it on days I get my hair done, but I don't care. I truly do not care what I look like. Love you all. So we are going to answer a reader question. How I answer a reader question is sometimes you fill out the form and I read them that way. Sometimes I just do the lottery where I scroll through and pick a question that way, whatever it lands on. So we have a lot of questions over here. So let's the first one we answered last week was by Beth Cassell, and she wanted to know how I dealt with crappy mental health. So that was really fun to answer. So you'll be able to find the answer to that one on Facebook and my YouTube channel. So let's see here. I'm gonna scroll through. Okay, so this one is from Nova Conover. Quick story about Nova. Nova, I met her, I don't know, maybe like 2009. And actually, I had not even finished writing a book. My friend Jane Porter, who actually wasn't a friend of mine at the time, she was an author that I stalked. I love Jane Porter. She writes women's fiction, and I stalked her until one day she emailed me and said, "Hey, I'm coming to Kentucky and I need a place to stay." And I'm like, "Oh my God, yeah, you can stay with me." And she was actually coming to the Kentucky Book Festival, which years later, I had no idea that I would be opening that festival up with my friend Robin Peterman, who also lives here in Kentucky and from my hometown as well. And actually, she's like 10 minutes from my hometown. But anyway, so Robin and I years later had opened up the Kentucky Book Festival. But anyway, so Jane was going to the Kentucky Book Festival, and then she said, "Hey, would you like to help me put together a reader event for my readers that are coming?" And I'm like, "Yeah, like what kind of event?" She's like, "Oh, I want to rent a restaurant. I've got all the goodie bags. I'll send everything to you." And I'm like, "All right." And so actually, Jane and I, after that, became friends. She had just had her baby, Mac. And so now I think he's like a teenager now. But anyways, and so what happened was that Jane came, we became friends. She gave me the first blurb to my first self-published title. And we've been great friends since. She's amazing, but she is who I modeled myself after when I talk to my readers. Hey, Rachel, how are you? How are you feeling? Let me know in the comments. I know you were having some issues. I hope you're feeling better. But Jane had actually made me feel so good as a reader that I knew that I wanted my reader to feel that way. If it was just one reader or a lot of readers, I just wanted them to feel the way she made me feel. And Nova, who I just landed on her question that she sent in to be answered under that post on March 1st. I met Nova there as a reader of Jane's, and we actually sat next to each other at the dinner. And she said, "Oh, are you an author?" And I said, "Well, I'm not quite an author. I'm a writer. I'm learning to write. I am a child therapist, but, and I have 4 kids at home. So I met Nova there, and ever since then, she has followed me, and she was like my first reader. So Nova, I'm so excited that it landed on your question. I consider Nova a friend, and her daughter. I mean, several years have gone by, and I've seen Nova at writing book signings that I've had over the years. And then years later, I was able to host my own dinner party at an event that I modeled after Jane from many years previous to that. And Nova and her daughter were there, and it was just fantastic. So getting to our reader question, Nova said, what means do you use when you write? Notebook, laptops, etc. Oh my gosh, Nova. Okay, so that is fun. That's a good question. So, and a lot of people probably already know. So I'm going to kind of take you guys with me. I've got my laptop here. So I'll just go in here and grab some things because it's just easier than for me to, you know, try to run around and not get things. So let me show you exactly what I do. I'm just going to grab a couple of things. They might not be from the same series, but you'll get the idea. Whoopsie daisies. I just dropped something out of one of them. This is how I kind of do things. And oh my gosh, I think I grabbed a notebook of one of the new series that has the plot line. Oh, well, we can kind of go with it. So the first thing I do is whether I'm starting a new series or I am writing in an old series, I keep just an address book. Literally, these are from the Dollar Tree. And let me tell you what, the Dollar Tree is no longer the Dollar Tree. It's the $1.25 tree. So my mama called me and she said, oh, heavens to Betsy, you're not going to believe what's happened. The Dollar Tree has upped their prices. So now she was upset that she had to pay $1.25 for some kind of cleaning product. Southern woman. Anyways, but we are happy she's with us, right? After what happened to her in September. She's a miracle. So I'll give her the quarter she needs it, but she doesn't. So, but I get up for the Dollar Tree, and I don't know how much they are now, but at the Dollar Tree, they were $1, but I buy lots of them. So what happened is this is an address book, and this one just so happens to be of Honey Springs, which, if you guys read my books, it is from the Killer Coffee series. And so it's an address book, and it's an address book like the old time address books you would see or get when you were a child, if you're of my age. And if I'm in my 50s, so of course, Nova, sometimes we still get like real phone books. But anyways, it is a phone book of all the people that live there. So as we all know, Roxanne Bloom is the sleuth of that series. So I label it under R for her first name because I don't always say Bloom, Roxanne. So what I do is I will write her name and all of her stats. So everything like Roxanne Bloom, black curly hair, blue eyes, 30 years old, has an ex-husband. Now she's married to Patrick Kane. She has a sister-in-law named Debbie. I can look under P's for Patrick Kane, and I can see all of his stuff. So I keep this as kind of like my story Bible. And that way, because a lot of times I forget because I write so fast and so much that I'm just like, I'm like, oh gosh, what's her eye color? Or what's her hair color? If I really want to describe it. So I keep it all in there. Then everything has a actual notebook. I know I should rip that off, but I don't. I'm too lazy. And it doesn't bother me any. So this is 4-leaf felony, and I can't really show you this because the actual book hasn't come out yet. But I do have a big surprise about 4-leaf felony, but I can't tell you right now. Let me go grab another one. Hold on. Hey, Rowena. Okay, so I'm back. This is one of the many Caper and Criminals books. So what I do is I will start what I call like my little thinking, what I'm going to do. And I start kind of writing down different plot points and going from there. Then I'm going to try to find another one that's not quite as filled out because I don't want to do spoilers if you've not read the series, because this is exactly how I plot. Okay, so here's one, and I don't even have to tell you who it is. So I might like to make a little sun, Nova, and the murdered victim goes in here. If there's an extra murder victim, it'll also go in there. Usually I'll do like 1 to 2 murders. And then as like it's a sun, so as the rays come out, those are my suspects. And then I list under however many suspects I have, I'll list why they have a motive and then eventually have the killer in there as well. Then what I do is I will, which this will be a different one. So this is another way I'll flip the page and then I'll make like a half a moon. And my books are only 50,000 words. And the reason why they're only 50,000 words is because when I got my book deal from HarperCollins, they only wanted the 50,000 words. And I'm like, guys, if it's good enough for HarperCollins, it is good enough for me and my publishing house, which is Tonya Kappes Books, which my husband and I both run. So anyway, so I go from 1 to 50. And in the middle, you know, that's the main climax of the book or something big is found out. And then I just kind of fill it in that way. So what I do is I fill in where the suspects all kind of go in and where we find out whether their clues are, we find out their motives. And so I just fill all of that out before I start writing. I used to be a pantser, and that just really got me in trouble. I mean, I was a pantser for the better part of like 7 or 8 years. And that means, Nova, that I just went with it. I just wrote. And I'm like, oh, that's a good clue. And then I would go back and add the clue. And I found that took me a lot longer. And with this kind of a system, I can write a book within 17 days. And that's how I can produce. Currently, right now, I'm ahead a couple of books. So I do publish monthly. So this is how I do it. And then what I do is after I do the sun diagram and then the half moon diagram, I will write out chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. And I don't write a whole lot. I generally write like 1 or 2 sentences per chapter about what that chapter is. It might be about the subplot, which generally I will also have a smaller half moon under here that has subplot, and feed that in, intertwine that into the main plot. But anyway, so what I do is I always have about 20 or 21 chapters in each book. So I always know that chapter 20 is going to be the wrap up of the book, and chapter 19 is going to be the killer scene, where we find out who the killer is or something like that. And sometimes it just might be so small as this, you know, Dottie's lesson. Dottie and Henery, Kirby and Felicity fight at the restaurant, or Ricky found dead, you know, something like this. It might be just as simple as that triggers something in my mind. So that is what I do. So then I will also keep it in my notebook, but then I type it out on a laptop. So I do not do old-fashioned writing like I used to with a little, we're gonna have a cup of tea. Wait, okay, I thought she was gonna jump up here, but Rowena's like, but anyways, and so I do use a laptop all the time. I use a Mac, and the reason why I use a Mac is because if I'm out and about, say like today when I'm going to get my hair cut and I'm sitting under there, because I hate going to the hair salon. It's just such a waste of time for me. And my hairdresser, who I've had for 4 years, is always like, oh, Tonya, you are so low maintenance. One day I'm going to make you high maintenance. I'm like, no, you're not. But anyways, and so while I sit there like twiddling my thumbs, I should be reading, taking time for myself. I'm not. I'm generally like in my notes on my phone and typing in my notes of things that I'm thinking of. And then it talks to my computer at home. It talks to my iPad, and it also talks to Eddie's computer. So he is part of my business. And so he also needs to see what's going on and what he needs to be doing. I also have 2 assistants. So if I need to jot something down, then I let them also, in on what's going on. Or if Karen needs to know about a book sale coming on, I like to let her know different things. So Rowena, she's like now walking around us. So anyways, Nova, your question, I hope that I answered that with my process of all the tools that I use to write. So I do use a notebook, an address book, and my notes on my phone. Sometimes my dictation, I do like to dictate. A lot of people are like, oh my gosh, that's super, super, super hard to do. And it is, I guess, but I like to walk. And so if I know that I've got a scene to write that has to do with the killer or, just whatever it is, I know that the next scene that I'm writing needs to be this scene, and I'm walking, and I usually walk for like 45 minutes, then that is playing in my head. And so that means that I can walk with my earphones in and do a whole dialogue scene. And I just do the dialogue. And for 45 minutes, if I'm just, riffing on a scene and being the characters, and I don't do things like setting, I just call it the bones. I'm just doing the bones of the scene. And I'm not like, I said, she said, or she flicked her hair. I don't know, just something. I don't write all that when I don't say all that when I'm dictating. I just have the conversation, and that chunk of time gives me like 5,000 words. So then I will dictate it on my phone. I don't do a dictation system, so I use my phone for those. So what'll happen is I'll come back and I'll pull up my manuscript, and I will hit play on my phone memo and dictation on my Word document. And I just let it go for the 45 minutes, and I come back, it's done. And I clean it up and put the meat to it. And I've already got like 6,000 words for the day of 45 minutes worth of work. So, that's a really good way that I use my phone for my tool like that. So I hope that answered your question, Nova. I'm so excited that it was your question, and then I got to talk a little bit about you. If anyone else has a question for me, I am here every Wednesday. Normally I'm here a little earlier on Wednesday, but I'm currently on a self-imposed book deadline, so I'm trying to get that done. And like I said, I got to go get my hair done. So anyways, you guys, it is gorgeous here today. My Mr. Owl is visiting. He's awesome. And it is getting to be spring in Kentucky, and a lot more camping, outdoor nature time. That's where my heart is. And I will see you guys next week. If you have a question, put them in the comments, and I will choose from you. Hopefully I will continue to go live on Instagram. So I'll talk to you guys later on Instagram, and I'm going to head over to Facebook where I can say hi to them. Now I don't know how to end the video, so let's just click out. All right, you guys, I don't know how to do the Facebook lives, or not Facebook live, but the Instagram lives, but I think I did it. I don't know. I like to go over there, to see what's going on. So let's see. I have some questions. People are here. Catherine and Mariah and Joy, good morning. Oh, hey, Cheryl, how are you? She's asking about mom and dad. Actually, they're really well. They went on a trip last week with my sister to the beach. Today, mom had an appointment right by you, and dad has an appointment up there as well. They are doing really well. They do have some in-home care because dad is still getting stronger. But You are a blessing. So thank you for asking about them. Jeff Salter, howdy do to you. I was just thinking about you the other day because Nancy and I will again be at the Lori Foster event, and I know that we've met you there a couple of times. I hope you're doing well down there in Possum Trot, Kentucky. Hey, Kristen Carter. Denise said she can't wait to see me at Rag Tea. I was just saying that. That's where Jeff Salter, I met Jeff Salter. I can't wait to see you too. Hello, Ashley. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday week. I hope you got your birthday card. I'm actually going to be doing all the birthday cards for April today. So, I was sad to see where the Dollar Tree went to $1.25. So was Mama. She about died. I said, Mama, it's $1.25. Your mom was a riot. We all said the same thing about the Dollar Tree, and I pled at the $1.25 tree. So do we, Kristen. Mom's like, I'm going to the $1.25 tree. I'm like, yeah, me too. How do you keep age progressing? In my books, so I write so fast in the series. Like we'll say all my series, I just write so fast. So I publish so much that they don't really progress during the year, but then the next year they'll just progress. Or like really progressing in age is like milestones, like getting married. Like I don't say, oh, she's 35 or she's 40 or, you know, my age. Like I wrote Bernadette Butler to be 50 years old because that's how and I'm going through all that stuff. So it was just like, I'm throwing that on the page. So, spaghetti-o. We had a drive-by. Hi. Hi. Say hi. Hi. Can you say hi? Say hello. She's like, no, get away, mother. Get away from me. But anyways, so I do it by milestones. I don't do it by age. Let's see. Hi, Gina. How are you, beautiful? Mariah says, I love everything out that you inspire me to write. Oh my gosh, Mariah, right, girl, right. Get it going. But then you better make sure you got time for me in my covers. Let's see. Smart system there. I love being on the live. Well, you thank you. Hello, Allison. Hey, Kate. Funny story about Kate. If you guys got the newsletter, you'll notice about what happened at the play that Eddie and I went to. Kate emailed me because she opens the newsletter and reads it. And was it your aunt and your niece that were in the play? I need to look that up. But anyways, I got an email from my sister on the email and said, heck, I'll go to the plays with you. I'm like, you're in. So this is a Wednesday writing lesson. Hilarious. Hello, Michelle. Fantastic system. Thank you, Frederica. You should do workshop for new authors. Yeah, you know what? I have had 2 people this week message me about doing something. And, I used to be a teacher. By trade, I'm a teacher. But, I just don't have it in me. I did teach a long time ago with Misa Ramirez, Melissa Bourbon, Winnie Archer. She and I are good friends. It's just the same person, Miss Misa. And so we did workshops for a year. We traveled all over. We did them online, and we wrote a book together on marketing, on all budgets. And, I think she started doing that again, but it took up my writing time. So I had to make the hard decision. Do you want to be a teacher or do you want to be a writer? And I left the real teaching job of teaching children to become a writer. And then I'm teaching writers how to self-publish back in 2011, 2012. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, now my writing's suffering. I want to be a full-time author. I don't want to be a therapist because at that point I was a therapist, a child therapist. And so I left. I said, you know what? I'm not going to be able to teach anymore because I just want to be an author. So that's when I changed it around. So George says that he's in an orphanage in Uganda. Kate said she's been writing and she's been stuck. This helps. Thank you so much hanging up on my wall. Oh, good. I'm glad you got everybody saying hello to Ro. Hey, Jill Thomas. Kate said it was her sister-in-law that was in the play. Yeah, I couldn't remember right. And your niece. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I have to know which ones they are. I mean, I was like so enthralled in the play. And then you know what happened. I swear the people in the play saw what happened. If you didn't open your email, go open it. And that's another thing. Like people are like, oh my gosh, I didn't see you post about that. Well, I do different things in the email because the email is so special to me. The reason why I post different things in the email than I actually post online is because one, the email is free for everybody. And two, it's a place for me to connect with real readers that want to hear from me and not a social media. And I'm always worried that Facebook is going to go, and then where will we meet? So really the newsletter is where I like to keep in touch. And I put so much time into the newsletter, coffee chat, and I love it. And if you're not on it, you should be, because that's where all the funny stories are. And next week, you're going to get the full story of where we went in the camper last week. So I had to get some pictures produced for that. A lot of fun. A lot of fun. I got to read my book to somebody in person. And it was special, something I've been waiting for 2 years. So you'll see it in the newsletter. Anyways, y'all, I have got to roll. I got to go. I got to put something in the crock pot before I go get this hair fixed. And I will talk to y'all next Wednesday. Love ya.